The Detroit Lions are coming off a pretty impressive showing on Monday Night Football against Baltimore. They do have a short week, returning home to face the Cleveland Browns, who played an impressive 4 minutes of football in a game where they trailed 10-0 with 4 minutes to go and found a way to steal one against the Packers last Sunday. Let's talk about this week's matchup. Teddy covers from WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for the Lions and the Browns. Right now, looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Detroit mostly 10s out there. There is a 9.5, there is a 10.5, but mostly 10s, total 44.5 for the Lions and the Browns. And let me start with this. All right, Cleveland's defense, number one overall defense in the NFL, has been every bit as good as advertised. The only way they won last week against Green Bay was the defense keeping them in the game while the offense continued to struggle. All right. And there's like, oh, Joe Flacco's going to be benched. Joe Flacco is not going to be benched anytime soon unless he gets hurt. And then he'll be sitting on the sideline. Joe Flacco is Cleveland's quarterback. Otherwise, they're going with one of two rookies, neither of whom showed at any point in the preseason that they were ready. And Flacco does a couple of things right for the Browns. One, he doesn't make the awful mistake. He hasn't made the awful mistake. And two, he gives his receivers a chance to make plays. Flacco's not a guy who's afraid to give guys jump ball opportunities. And that he's had success in Cleveland doing that. Obviously, at his advanced age, he doesn't want to take sacks. He gets rid of the ball fairly quickly. Flacco's not a scrambling threat out of the pocket anymore. And if you're ranking out NFL quarterbacks, Flacco's going to rank near the bottom. But the fact that he's able to get rid of the ball fairly quickly and give his receivers a chance to make plays, I'm going to two positive sides for him. I'm going to go, again, Flacco's not the guy who's making the killer mistakes. He can read opposing defenses in that regard. That being said, he had 38 dropbacks last week. He had 125 net yards, less than 4 yards per pass attempt. They're still playing without both their starting offensive tackles, Conklin and Jones. You know, of course, it's the Browns' defense. And again, they gave up 41 to Baltimore in week 2. But if ever there was a misleading, final score, Baltimore didn't move the offense. They didn't move the football in that ballgame. Derrick Henry was completely shut down by this Browns defense. And we could see the running game get shut down again. If you're looking for props in this game, I'll tell you what, one that stands out to me, David Montgomery under. All right, Monty had a huge game on Monday night. He's still splitting carries with Gibbs, and the number that he said he's in the 40s, in the mid 40s for his number. Cleveland hasn't given up 40-plus yards, 44 or more yards to anybody so far this season. And they faced three teams with feature back, guys like Josh Jacobs, who's going to get the vast majority of the carries. All three of the teams they faced in early season play have been with lead back opponents, and none of them, Derrick Henry didn't get the 44 yards against them. So, Monty under is one that makes sense to this better from a prop standpoint on Sunday afternoon. But from a side/total standpoint, I don't want the Browns off a win. Let me just leave. I'll make that plain and simple. Cleveland last year, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread off a win. That was a game they positively stole last week. Again, Green Bay let him hang around, and then the last 4 minutes of the game, he had some shenanigans, he had a blocked field goal, etc., etc. I don't trust Cleveland off that win, and they're facing, obviously, a Detroit team that is explosive offensively, and it showed that they're capable of doing it against anyone. But all that being said, it's not a scenario where I'm excited about, laying a price with the Lions in this ballgame. And Detroit had the dominant showing. Jared Goff team's really good against the spread. He's been good with Detroit against the spread. And this is not a Lions team we worry too much in that card. But this isn't a big game for Detroit. They had the Monday night game. This is an exhale spot against a good defense. I don't know if we're going to see that many points. I guess is the way I'm coming down to. I'm not excited about the dog here. I'm not excited about the favorite. I am excited a little bit about the total. And again, Cleveland can't score. I know Judkins showed us something in the latter stages last week against Green Bay. I'm not convinced. And again, if they run the football, that's great. That's good for underbettors. You want that clock moving. You want 4 and 5 yard games, not 20 and 30-yard gains downfield like you get when you pass the football. So I'm expecting, and of course, given Detroit's Ed Rusher situation and given Flacco's propensity for an inability to scramble, I'm expecting Cleveland to try to run the football a lot. And I'm going to expect Detroit to have their fair share of struggles, moving the ball up and down the field against a Browns defense that is elite. All right? As good as any in the league. So you put it all together, and again, look at the odds logic live odds screen, 44.5. That feels a little bit high. It is better. More than a little bit. If I'm playing, I want the under Lions and Browns for Sunday early start action. There you have it. Listen, guys, we appreciate those likes very, very much. If you like this type of breakdown, hit that like button. That's all I ask. If you like, leave a comment below. Tell us what you think about this game or anything else on Sunday or anything else you want to talk about. That's fine. Oh, good. Make fun of my shirt. No problem. But we appreciate the likes. We appreciate the comments. And if you haven't done so already, more than 220,000 of you following WagerTalk TV on YouTube. Get instant alerts every time these videos go live. Just follow us. Again, WagerTalk TV. And of course, check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit the website, wagertalk.com. We got a $49 weekend warrior package if you want to get on board for short term. We have a great buy 1 month, get the second month $3 a day. So you get 2 months for basically less than $400. Every play, every day, every sport. That includes the baseball playoffs, that includes the start of the NBA season, the whole 9 yards. Every play. I mean, there's no nonsense when you deal with Wager Talk. It really isn't. That's a good deal. Check it out, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit the website, wagertalk.com. Thanks for watching. Best of luck with all your bets this weekend. And stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content. Cheers.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wager Talk TV. I'm Ross the Boss Benjamin of WagerTalk.com. And I got 2 NFL free pick winners for you for Sunday the 28th. And I'll get to those shortly. They come in the games between the Chargers and the Giants. Will the Giants be able to bounce back after an 0-3 start? And now with the insertion of rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, or will the Chargers continue their winning ways as they're 3-0 out of the gate? And will that East Coast time zone start time bother the Chargers, since they haven't done so all year? And then also we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Francisco 49ers, 2 teams that are combined 5-1 on the season. Who's going to come out on top on this game? Who's going to cover the spread? I have all those answers and much more, so stay tuned. Just a couple friendly reminders. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so. It's absolutely free. Just hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of your page, and then while you're at it, hit the alert notification bell for Wager Talk TV. You'll be notified immediately upon any of our great content going up on our great channel. In addition, folks, be kind enough to give me a like. I mean, these videos have been doing awfully well over the last 14 months, especially over the last couple weeks. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse how well we're doing. But again, these are free. They're not my best picks. So, folks, take advantage of some of the special offers we got going on my premium picks. I'll get to those specials and my records in just a moment. But let's get to the first game at hand. And let us know, by the way, before I get to the Chargers-Giants game, let us know who you like in Week 4 of the NFL card on Sunday and Monday. We have 2 games on Monday as well, remember, folks. So leave your picks in the comments section, or leave your comments in terms of why you like those picks, or just if you have a handicapping question in general, I'll leave it in there and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So again, folks, be nice, be respectful, don't be demeaning, don't be vulgar. Let's keep it a positive community. All right, so the Chargers at the Giants, 1 o'clock Eastern time. The Chargers, a perfect 3-0 record. They started the season with 3 divisional games, won all 3. 1 game was played in Brazil. 2 games, were played on the West Coast at Las Vegas and then home last week when they pulled out a last-second field goal win over the Denver Broncos. The New York Giants, well, they can't get out of their own way, and that seems to be an ongoing theme for them over the last couple seasons. 0-3, coming off a 20-9 loss at home against Kansas City on Sunday night. The positive thing for the Giants in that game was the fact that their defense held the Kansas City Chiefs to 305 yards in that game. But again, that's a Kansas City offense that's really struggled this year for whatever reason. In any event, I tell you, I really like the Giants defense. I think on paper, and especially their front four, they're very talented. It's just that they don't get a hell of a lot of support from their offense, and sometimes they're just on the field way too much and wear down. The Chargers defense through 3 games has been excellent. 16.7 points per game, 276.7 yards per game. And it's a big reason why they're 3-0, because they're not putting up giant offensive numbers, even though Justin Herbert's been getting a lot of love at quarterback, and he should be because he's playing awfully well. This will be the first non-division game for the Chargers, as I alluded to. First East Coast 1 o'clock start game of the season. You always have to worry about teams from the West Coast when they come to the East Coast, and especially so when they do it for a first time in the season. So something to keep an eye on there as well. The Chargers have played 6-0 to the under in their last 6 away games, when the total has been between 42.5 and 49. And this total right now is 44, so it fits into that category. And those 6 games averaged a combined 36.3 points per game scored. Jackson Dart gets his much anticipated first ever start in the NFL for the New York Giants. The former Ole Miss quarterback was very good in the preseason. The fans have been clamoring for him to get in games, and he's had some spot duty, as they've had a couple different packages for him throughout the course of the first 3 games, but very limited. And now he's been named the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. The New York Giants, by the way, before Game 9 of the season, they've played 9-0 to the under at home since 2023. And those 9 games averaged a combined 29.6 points per game. The Giants' defense, like I said, much better than their overall numbers would indicate. They probably played their best defensive game last Sunday against Kansas City. They didn't play bad against Washington. It's just, again, their offense couldn't get anything going. And then they were involved in a shootout against Dallas, which definitely was their worst defensive game of the year, but on the other hand was their best offensive game. But look, here's the thing. The Chargers defense is going to be hard to penetrate with a rookie quarterback. It's not like the Giants have a dynamic running game that will open up play action opportunities for the youngster. I like Jackson Dart. I think he's going to do well in this league. I like the fact that the Giants have turned to him early after Russell Wilson's struggles. And I like this game to go under the total. I think both defenses prevail here. And I think we settle for a lot of field goals in this game, and the final score is going to go under the total of 44 is my free pick. Chargers, Giants, under 44. All right, before I get to the next game, which is the Jacksonville Jags and the San Francisco 49ers, folks, $49 Weekend Warrior special again this week. And what that entails is you're going to get for $49, you're going to get all college football picks on Saturday, all NFL picks on Sunday and Monday. And remember, again, 2 games on Monday. The last 2 weeks, I congratulate anybody or everybody that has bought my Weekend Warrior packages for just $49, folks. You've gone 15-5. Congratulations for making the leap. Congratulations for the faith you entrusted in me. And yes, 15-5 the last 2 weeks combined. College football, NFL. 2 weeks ago in college football, a 4-0 sweep. Last week in the NFL, a 4-0 sweep. College football, 7-1 the last 2 weeks. Also, college football, 13-6 on the year, plus 26 units. It's off to a good start in college football there. And college football has been tremendous, folks. Number 1 in both win percentage and money earned last year in college football. Number 1 since the start of the 2023 season in units earned. So college football has been great. NFL off a 4-0 sweep. Take advantage of that offer. $49 Weekend Warrior special. And you'll be happy you did, like the many that took advantage of this the last 2 weeks. All right, so the Jacksonville Jaguars at the San Francisco 49ers, 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. San Francisco is a 3.5 point favorite. The total in this game is 46.5. Uh, the Jaguars defense has been very good during this 2-1 start. Now, they had a little bit of a lapse in the second half of the Cincinnati game. When Joe Burrow went out of the game, Jake Browning came in, and especially in the second half, had a monster game against Jacksonville. And even with that, the Jags lost that game 31-27, and Cincinnati scored the winning touchdown with just 13 seconds left to play. So they very easily could be sitting at 3-0 right now. San Francisco, by the way, 3-6 straight up and 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 at home whenever there's a total of 45.5 or more. And right now the total is 46.5, which simply means that when the 49ers face an opponent that's pretty lethal offensively, or at least has a very good offense, they've struggled in those games at home. Their only loss, the only time they did not struggle, I believe they barely won those 3 games, yeah, but they didn't cover 8 of the 9. San Francisco 3-0, but all 3 wins by 5 points or fewer, and by a combined 10 points in all. So this team could very easily be 0-3 or 1-2 instead of 3-0. San Francisco only 87.7 yards per game rushing through the first 3 games of the season, and that could be problematic against the Jacksonville defense that's allowed a little over 82 yards per game against the run in their first 3 games. So one team they're struggling to run the ball with any consistency, and the other team's been very good at stopping the run. This puts a lot of pressure on San Francisco backup quarterback Mac Jones, who's been filling in for the injured Brock Purdy, who's out indefinitely with a toe injury, and it puts a lot of pressure on him in terms of having to win the game with his arm, and having little balance in the run-pass combination on offense. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars here, plus the 3.5 at San Francisco. I think that Trevor Lawrence plays his best game of the season here. He hasn't been great. Be honest with you, he has not been great the first 3 games, despite their 2-1 record and putting up some decent offensive numbers. He's only completed 55.8% of his passes, but I think he's going to shine here. And I think we'll see Mac Jones regress to the backup quarterback he is in this matchup. I'm going to go with Jacksonville plus 3.5 at San Francisco. And my other free pick for Sunday, the 28th of September, is the LA Chargers and New York Giants to go under the total of 44. I'll be back tomorrow with both winning picks on the Monday night matchups right here at WagerTalk TV. Be sure not to miss that. And, again, folks, all sports were on a 144-95 run since May the 13th. That's all my premium picks. That's 60% winning, and it's also plus 125 units in net profit. And you can get my 60-day all-access pass right now. It's normally $598 for 60 days. We're going to do it for you for $398. It's a limited time offer, so take advantage of that. You'll not only get my NFL and college football, the Major League Baseball playoffs are coming up. And by the way, number 1 in Major League Baseball at this current time for the 2025 season. And don't forget the other pass. It's a little bit of money, but when you stop and think about it, if you're betting every day and you're a serious bettor, you should really give this serious consideration, because normally my 365-day all-access pass is $19.99. You can get it today for a limited time offer, $11.99. That's $811 off the normal price. Folks, when you break it down, that's $3.25 a day. That's everything I put out for the entirety of 365 days, including 5% best bets in every sport that I handicap and put picks out on at wagertalk.com. So take advantage of that, because not only will you're going to get those picks for 365 days for the reduced rate of $11.99. We're also going to give you a 25% bonus coupon. And what that will allow you to do is for as many purchases as you want over the 365 days, you're going to be able to purchase from any other handicapper as many times as you want, like I said, and use the coupon for 25% off. So not only are you going to get my 365 days, not only are you going to get $811 off, not only is it only $3.25 a day, but you're also going to get a 25% bonus coupon to use on any other handicapper throughout the site. Again, wt.buzz/RB is my direct link at WagerTalk, wt.buzz/RB. Don't forget to give this video a like, folks. Be much appreciated. And also, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and you'll be glad that you did. Until the next time, for WagerTalk TV and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless.
What are your thoughts on this one, Bears Raiders?
Well, the Raiders are my adopted team. I'm still the Steelers.
I know.
But you know what? These two teams, they were good to me last week because I read both of the games right involving these two teams. I had the Bears as an actual client play last week, but it wasn't because of the Bears. It was because I was going against Dallas. Dallas was in a horrible spot last week, having to go to Chicago, coming off that thriller against the Giants, that overtime win where both teams went up and down the field. And then look at who Dallas has on deck, that they're playing this week. They've got that game with Green Bay and Micah Parsons on Sunday Night Football. So I thought it was a horrible spot for the Cowboys last week, and that's why we were on the Bears. And then same thing with the Raiders. Obviously, being here in Vegas and doing Vegas radio, I had to break that game down, and I said Raiders were in trouble last week. The Vegas team had to travel to the East Coast for the second time in 3 weeks. They opened a season in New England, then played that Monday night football game. And if you remember, that was a doubleheader on Monday night. So that game was even later, a 7 p.m. start here in Vegas. And then they had to travel to Washington on a short week. Horrible spot for them. Washington ran roughshod over them. But this week, different story. I think Pete Carroll was going to be able to get his first home win as Raiders head coach. Caleb Williams, he had a good game last week, but let me just remind you, Russell Wilson 2 weeks ago against that Cowboy defense had 455 yards passing. So just about anybody's going to have a good game against the Cowboys defense. It'll be a different story against the Raiders this week. I think the Raiders get the job done. We've seen this line sitting basically at 1.5, basically all week. No movement there, even though Chicago looks live based on last week's results. Not the right side. I'm taking the Raiders and Pete Carroll. First home win. Let's call it Raiders 27-20. And if you like bet on it, we've got a special offer with VR and myself. You can get both of us. College and pro football through the Super Bowl. Individually, $739 for me or VR. But if you buy us together, you can get us through the Super Bowl for $1,198. That is the best offer going right now. And then, of course, if you just want to look for the weekend, we still have that site-wide. Any of the cappers at WagerTalk, you can pick up that Weekend Warrior. Get all of your favorite cappers Saturday and Sunday plays in college and pro football for $49. Going back to last year, the past 2 seasons, I'm number 2 in money won at WagerTalk in college and pro combined. So highly recommend jumping on board for my plays.
All right, we're back talking NFL on WagerTalk TV. We're heading into Sunday's action with a record of 15-3 with our premium picks for clients. And we gave you a free play winner on the Seattle Seahawks for Thursday Night Football. A little bit of a controversial video. The randos in the chat are always telling me they know more than me. It's kind of interesting. In this video, we're going to break down 2 games for you. We're talking the Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll finish up with the Indianapolis Colts at the LA Rams. Let's start with the Ravens and the Chiefs, 2 teams with high expectations, both 1-2 on the season. One of these teams is going to be 1-3 on Monday morning. Which one is it going to be? Well, Baltimore comes in as a 2.5-point road favorite. Total sits at 48.5. Baltimore 1-2 off a 38-30 home loss to the Detroit Lions. I had Baltimore in that game. One of my few losses, like I said, 15-3 on the season. So I've only lost 3 games. That was one of them. The Ravens, the number one scoring offense in the NFL, averaging 37 points per game. And the fact that they have a losing record would lead you to believe their defense just isn't that good. And that is correct. They rank 31st. They're allowing 32 points per game. That said, you look at who they've played. They played the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions, 2 potential top 5 teams, 2 great quarterbacks. So, yeah, they've given up a bunch of points, but that doesn't mean this defense isn't good. They came into the season with, I think, the number 2 ranked defensive line and the number 1 ranked secondary, according to Pro Football Focus. Of course, they won't rank anywhere near that heading into this game after 3 games. And that was a bone of contention with people in the chat on my Thursday night video, is that I'm not using the current rankings based on a 3-game sample size. And I think that the disparity in strength of schedule, the teams that you faced is so important that there's no way I can lean too heavily into year-to-date stats after 3 games. And the Ravens defense is one of those cases. They rank poorly. I'm not ready to throw in the towel and say this defense sucks, because I just don't believe that. They've gone over in 7 of their last 10 against the Chiefs, and there's been an average of 49 points scored in those games. Derrick Henry fumbled the ball last week, and you guys know I'm a big Derrick Henry fan. I've been trying to break his NFL Combine bench press record. Last year, I did 21 reps at 225, coming up just 1 short of his record of 22 reps at the NFL Combine. We'll see if I can get there this year at the age of 50. Probably not going to do it, but I'll give it my best effort. I think this is a great game for Derrick Henry after that big fumble. He was beside himself on the bench, but he's facing a Chiefs team that isn't what it once was. His price to score a touchdown in this game, just $155, minus 155 for the anytime tutty for Derrick Henry. I like that one. His rushing yards total, 80.5. I like that as well. Let's talk about the Chiefs, though. I've said it all season long. I said it last year. This is a dynasty in decline. They don't have the weapons on offense that they used to have. You think about the Chiefs when they were winning Super Bowls. They had Tyreek Hill. They had Kareem Hunt in his prime. They had Travis Kelce in his prime. Neither of those 2 players are playing that well at the moment. Kelce has 10 receptions, 134 yards, 1 touchdown on 17 targets. He's not happy. There's been a lot of viral posts on social media of Kelce and Andy Reid getting into it on the bench. The receiving core doesn't have the talent it used to have. Xavier Worthy apparently will be available. He will be looking for his first reception of the season after going out early in the season opener after a collision with Travis Kelce. The running game is in complete shambles for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is their leading rusher, and I mentioned that last week, saying this is something that simply cannot continue. You can't have Mahomes out there putting his body on the line game in and game out. But Pacheco and Hunt are not getting it done. Pacheco's got 92 yards on 25 carries, averaging 3.7 yards per carry. Hunt, 81 yards on 23 carries, averaging 3.5 yards per carry. These guys, neither one of these guys would be starting on a playoff team, in my opinion. I'm down on Kansas City. I think, they're fat and sassy. They've got a bunch of Super Bowl rings. They've got pop star girlfriends, big contracts with pharmaceutical companies and State Farm Insurance. I don't know how much motivation's there. They don't have the talent they had. I think this is going to be a tough year for Kansas City fans. I like the Baltimore Ravens here, and I like Derrick Henry to have a big game. And I know I'm going to hear about it from the Kansas City fans, and that's fine. But before we talk about the next game, I got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at WagerTalk.com, and this one is the most popular promotion I've ever seen. They're giving away the entire weekend of football. That's all day Saturday college, all day Sunday NFL. They're even throwing in the Monday night game, all for just $49. Did I mention that I'm 15-3 with my NFL picks for clients so far this season? Of course, that makes me the number one NFL handicapper at WagerTalk for this season. I'm also number one dating back to last year's playoffs, the calendar year of 25, also number one. Since the start of last year's playoffs, I'm 30-8. That's 79% with all my NFL picks. So give me a whirl this weekend. Grab that Weekend Warrior package. As always, there's no purchase necessary. You're more than welcome to tune in just for the free picks. I do ask very nicely that you smash the like button. That's important. But also, if you've got anything to say about this game or any other game on this Sunday's card or any college game or the Monday night game or anything you want to talk about in the comments, please let me know about it. If you don't like my haircut, I want to hear from you. You guys were awful mean to me in my last video on the Thursday night football game. But I appreciate all comments, the good ones, the bad ones, the nasty ones. Keep them coming. Now let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts and the LA Rams. The Colts are 3-0, baby, 3-0. And they're just lighting it up on offense. They went their first two games without punting, something along those lines. But how good is this Colts team? They played the Miami Dolphins. They played the Denver Broncos, who came into the season with high expectations, haven't lived up to them. By the way, it took a miracle for Indy to get past Denver in that game. That was a game that I think most people would agree Indy had no business winning that game. And then they beat up on the Tennessee Titans. Everybody's beaten up on the Tennessee Titans. Another thing of note is the Colts have benefited from a 5-0 turnover ratio. They have yet to turn over the ball, and their opponent has turned over the ball 5 times. That trend is not going to continue. You're going to have some turnovers yourself, and you're not always going to have the edge in that category. Daniel Jones, I mean, this guy had his first leg out of the league. I mean, nobody thought this kid would be a bona fide NFL quarterback a year ago. But he's thrown for 816 yards and 3 touchdowns on 72% passing. Danny Dimes is lighting it up with the Colts. Unfortunately for Danny Dimes, though, his right guard and right tackle are questionable. He can lean on the running game, though. Jonathan Taylor is the NFL's leading rusher, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns on 60 carries. That's 5.6 yards per carry. The Colts are humming. The Colts are a good team. There's no doubt about it. Even though they've got a questionable strength of schedule, I do believe this team is a good team. The Rams, though, they might have a great defense. They've got a quarterback that's been to Super Bowls. I mean, the Rams are a good team. They're 2-1. They should be 3-0. We all saw what happened last week, that bad beat. If you weren't tuning into the live End Zone show on Wager Talk TV, go check the highlights, because Kelly in Vegas was laughing it up when the Rams got a kick blocked at the end of the game, returned for a touchdown for that worst beat people have seen in years. Rams pass defense, though, one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. They're allowing 165 passing yards per game. They're number one in the NFL in sacks. They've sacked opposing quarterbacks 12 times, and they've faced C.J. Stroud, Cam Ward, and Jalen Hurts. The Rams, though, also injuries on the offensive line. Right guard and left tackle are questionable. Devontae Adams and their tight end, Tyler Higbee, also questionable. So with the injuries and with the offensive line question marks for both teams, the total sits at 49.5. I think I like the under in this game. I think the Colts offense will be slowed by a very good Rams defense. So we're going to take the under in this game. If you like these picks, smash the like button, follow the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You know, Mayfield had a huge season last year. The Eagles coming off the Super Bowl. Really your take on both these teams and, of course, this game as well.
Sure. I mean, it's the only matchup of 3-0 teams this weekend, or both teams are 3-0. Of course, looking at the odds logic live odds screen right now, I'm seeing Philadelphia minus 3.5 total. There's 43.5s out there. There's 44s out there. There's a couple of 44.5s out there. So let's call it 44, 3.5 and 44 for Philadelphia in Tampa. And of course, Philadelphia is 19-1 straight up in their last 20 games. Of course, their 21st game last year, week 4, they went to Tampa and they lost. The previous season, they went to Tampa in the playoffs and lost. And neither one of them particularly close, 33-16, 32-19. Jalen Hurts just 1-3 against the Bucs, including that playoff loss. Now, it is worth noting that in both of those losses, relatively recent losses for Philadelphia against Tampa, they did not have A.J. Brown available for either of those games. And A.J. Brown was certainly a difference maker last week when Philly rallied from behind to beat the Rams. 6 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown in that ball game. But, you read the quotes out of Philadelphia talking about what Tampa does, why Tampa's giving them credit, why Tampa's giving them problems, and you see some credit going towards Tampa. Hurts, quote, Bull's got a lot of tools and a lot of things in his system. What he does, that is very challenging. That's what makes him such a great team and a great defense. Of course, the defending champs, 3-0, but they've won those games by a grand total of 14 points. They managed just 33 yards of offense in the first half last week before going nuts in the second half. And Saquon Barkley, we have to talk about Barkley because this is a guy that had, 430-plus rushing attempts last year, counting regular season and playoffs. And he's not a young guy to begin with. He's an 8-year vet. So when you have a guy who was an 8-year vet and that kind of mileage on his legs and that kind of mileage last year, you expect a drop off. That's just what we've seen. 3 games as long as just 16, 3.3 yards per carry. Right now, Saquon Barkley is a bet against when you're talking about any type of prop you can find for him. And that, in my mind, makes Philadelphia weaker. It makes it more difficult for the Eagles to win games by margin. Of course, he's facing a Tampa defense that hasn't allowed a single 100-yard rusher in the last 11 games. That's best in the NFL during that span. And, of course, it's a Bucs team. You ask me, would you rather have 3 blowouts or 3 come-from-behind wins to open the season? And I'll take the latter as opposed to the former any day of the week. When a team comes from behind to win games, to win battles, boy, the confidence, they're battle-tested. The confidence rises. When they're faced with adversity, they can handle it. And that's exactly what Baker Mayfield and company have done so far this season. Mayfield, quote, resilient group. We stick together, the whole team. When one part or phase of it's a little down, others have to step up and be there for you. That's what this team is all about. We support each other no matter what. Worth noting, Philadelphia does have some significant injury concerns for this ball game. So does Tampa, but Tampa could get Chris Godwin back. They could get Tristan Wirfs back this week to impact players on the offensive side. We know Mike Evans is out for Tampa, but, Nolan Smith, Jacorian Bennett, Darius Cooper all just went on injured reserve. Lane Johnson's been limited in practice all week. He left last Sunday's game with a stinger. Zach Bond is a concern this week. Adoree Jackson hasn't practiced. So Philly's a little banged up. They're laying a price against a team that's matched up well against them. I think it's a little too high. If I'm playing, I want the home dog in this one. Bucks or pass for this better. We had a big weekend last weekend. 4-0 in college football, 6-1 overall. The only loser was the freaking LA Rams, but we're over it. And looking to do it again this week. I'll take a 6-1, no problem. Locked and loaded already with 1 in the NFL, 2 in college, and we'll be adding plays throughout the day as well. So check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Weekend Warrior package, $49. Buy 30 days, get 30 days for $3. It's like, it's a really good deal there, $3 a day. And of course, the full season, the full year at $99 a month is a great deal as well. So short-term, medium-term, long-term, however you want to get on board, do it now. Visit my homepage, wt.buzz/TC.
Let's talk about this NFL Week 4 matchup between the Washington Commanders and Atlanta Falcons. Washington opened up as 2.5 road favorites here, but with the news of Jaden Daniels being out, this has shifted. Looking at the NFL odds screen page on Odds Logic, we're seeing it at -2, -2.5 for Atlanta now, as home favorites. The total coming down to as low as 43. So some 44s available. So definitely line chop, whether it's the side or the total here. But what is the recommended play? We'll get into the numbers, the matchup, and the trends that point to betting on the sharp side of this game in just a minute. I am Ronald Cabang from WagerTalk.com and TheMoneyBaller.com. As far as NFL goes, hitting over 57% of my plays since last season, and on a nice 6-2 run over my last couple weeks here. We just hit Monday Night Football. We hit Thursday Night Football with the Seahawks. If you want to rock with me short-term, midterm, long-term in the NFL, WNBA, Premier League, or college football, those are the sports I'm betting right now. There are a bunch of solid deals going on over at WagerTalk.com, or you can go directly to my capper page, wt.buzz/RC. You'll be able to see that scrolling down on the bottom. I actually have a QR code here. If you want to scan this way, right there, you can scan right there to go directly to my capper page. All right, so now to this game. Let's actually start with last week. Washington did get the win 41-24 over the Raiders here. They did play without Jaden Daniels. They leaned on Marcus Mariota and a heavy rushing attack. They ran for over 200 yards on the ground. Defense piled up 5 sacks, so solid field-goal win for them. On the Atlanta side, they got embarrassed 30-0 at Carolina. Michael Penix Jr. struggled terribly, was actually benched for Kirk Cousins. Obviously, that's going to raise some quarterback concerns, but if you fast forward to this week, like I mentioned, the Washington quarterback situation, Daniels is out. Mariota is going to start again. They're going to potentially be without McLaurin, already without Eckler, so that offensive side of the ball is, pretty much capped at that point. I mean, unless they get some breakthrough. But this Atlanta defense, I think they're better than what their numbers have shown or what the scoreboard has shown recently. Because if you're looking at their defense, they're actually one of the top teams as far as yards per game allowed, whether it's through the ground or through the air. Obviously, the injury news moved this number to Atlanta to be favored, but it was actually moving even before the injury news. It went down to -1. So the market, to me, was saying, they're pretty much worried about a Washington letdown here. Their strength, Washington's strength, they really rely on that defensive front. They definitely can, generate pressure. But with Mariota, you're asking him to repeat last week's performance, which is one of his best performances in years. That's going to be tough to do. Obviously, McLaurin's uncertainty, that's going to be, an issue as well for this offense. Atlanta, their offense has been bad, 31st in scoring, just 14 points per game. But you can't overlook Bijan Robinson. He's still producing. Kyle Pitts is also in a plus matchup against a defense that struggles against tight ends. And like I said earlier, defensively, I think even though they were humiliated in week 3, Atlanta actually, from a yards per game perspective, yards per play, all that, they're actually one of the better teams in the league through the first 3 games. Situationally, I think this is where some of the edges start to point towards Atlanta here. Atlanta is back home after what Coach Raheem Morris called an all-time low performance. And after the game, they actually made the decision to tweak something on operations. Offensive coordinator Zach Robinson is going to move to the sideline to improve communication with the quarterback. That's going to help with adjustments, whether it's with the young quarterback Penix Jr. or the offensive line. Washington, on the other hand, is on the road for the second time in 3 weeks. They're coming off a emotional win there, which to me is a classic letdown spot. They're banged up. They've got Mariota coming off a huge performance. That's a letdown spot there as well. Now they're facing a desperate divisional opponent at home, and from on the road there. And from a trend perspective, underdogs coming off a game where they're shut out as a favorite. They're 83% covering. They're covering 83% of the time since 2015. Obviously, they're favored now, but that number doesn't shift too much as far as whether they're the underdog or the favorite. So that strong trend backs Atlanta here. And in those games, their opponents failed to hit their team total in every single one of those instances. That means these teams usually respond defensively, which is a strength for the Falcons. So that lines up perfectly for how the Falcons play. So how does this play out? I think Atlanta is going to lean on Bijan and the play action with Penix Jr. That's going to allow their defense to be on the field for a shorter amount of time, but also their defense is going to let them keep them alive in this one, in my opinion, especially with Washington rolling out with Mariota, who I feel like is going to struggle in this game. Either way, the Commanders, they're dealing with injuries on both sides of the ball as well. So this is set up to be a low margin divisional game, and that script really, to me, puts value on the home team here. I'm on Atlanta +1. I gave this out to clients on Wednesday. If you could find a 2, maybe, I know it's up to 2.5. I probably might still be moving towards Atlanta's side with Jaden Daniels out, but I wouldn't do anything past -3. I still like Atlanta to win this game. I thought Atlanta was going to win this game even before the news of Daniels, but that's my thought. That's what I'm on. What are your thoughts on this game? Do you agree or disagree? Make sure to leave a comment. I'd love to hear your angles. Also, if you enjoyed the breakdown, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the notification button as well so you don't miss another breakdown from any of the other WagerTalk handicappers. Once again, head over to wt.buzz/RC for free and premium picks and packages. A lot of stuff going on over there. Here's that QR code once again if you want to scan. Short-term packages, Weekend Warrior, that's college football and NFL through the weekend for just $49. That does include 5% plays for any handicappers. Midterm package, 60 days for 60 days of all access for $398. That's a huge discount off of 30-day all access packages. Long-term promo, 1 year all access, $99 a month plus 25% bonus coupon. So obviously all sports throughout the year. That's going to be the full NBA, WNBA, college basketball, all that stuff too as well. And for all your personal betting needs, head over to themoneyballer.com. They have all the stats, trends, and insights you need to make informed betting decisions. You can use promo code RC50 to get 50% off your first billing cycle. Themoneyballer.com is my main source for handicapping. It's a big reason why I've had success in NBA, NFL, MLB, WNBA, all of that. So check that out. And that's the end of the video, guys. Whether you fade or follow, it is on you to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Until next time. Peace.
Hard to believe the biggest game this week is a battle of 1 and 2 teams, but I think it is. It's Ravens-Chiefs. Huge game because one of these teams will be 1 and 3. Well, 1% chance it ends in a tie. So 99% chance either the Ravens and Chiefs are off to a 1 and 3 start this year. I've got the free play in this game where I think the money is. We're to make some money. Huge game Sunday afternoon. Ravens-Chiefs coming up free for you right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And by the way, Teddy Covers and myself, Steve Merrill, we did a deep dive, pick a side on Friday's Wager Talk Today episode, so check that out afterwards. It's archived here on Wager Talk TV under the live shows link on YouTube. Teddy gave a reason for the Chiefs. I gave a reason for the Ravens. It was randomly assigned to us by our producer, Dan Alexander. And I think you can make a case for both sides. And as I said on the show, is that at 2.5 Ravens at +3 Chiefs, there's about a 9% chance Ravens win this by exactly a field goal. In fact, that was my prediction on the show. Ravens by 3, perhaps. So what are we going to use for the free play here? I'm going to look at the total instead. I think that's the best way to play this game is the over-under on Sunday afternoon. This is the late game at 4:25 Eastern, and I like the over. Let's not overthink it, no pun intended. Now, the concern here, of course, is that the Chiefs' offense has been suspect at times, both in the Super Bowl last year and also this season. But the Ravens' defense has been more suspect, in my opinion. We saw what Buffalo did to them in that fourth quarter and what Josh Allen did to him. And Patrick Mahomes is still as good as they come. Andy Reid's still a great coach. So not in a hurry to fade the Chiefs as a home dog. And as I mentioned earlier, they're mostly 2.5s out there as we head into the weekend. I'm doing this video on Friday. But we did see a 3 at Westgate on Friday. So really, if you do like the side here, you get 2.5 at Baltimore, or you get a +3 maybe by kickoff Sunday with the Chiefs. Shop around. It's so important, especially a key number. As far as the total, though, here, 48 in some spots, 48.5 in others. 48 is a semi-key number. I do like the over either way. And it's also the biggest total on the board Sunday for a reason, because this should be an offensive shootout. And I think the Chiefs offense probably does break out in this game. While their numbers haven't been very impressive, keep in mind they faced some decent defensive opponents so far. Averaging just 5.9 yards per pass does not look good, but the 3 opponents they faced have given up just 5.7 on the season. So maybe the Chiefs offense is going to click a little bit better than expecting. Meanwhile, Baltimore's pass defense, as we saw with Allen in that fourth quarter, is suspect. And their run defense is actually what people are talking about, but they're giving up almost 5 yards a carry, almost 150 rushing yards per game. So I do think the Chiefs will have some success on the ground. And Kansas City has averaged over 100 rushing yards per game this season, which I think once again will open up some of the passing options for Mahomes and company. We've seen shootouts between Buffalo and Kansas City, Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. It seems like whenever those 3 powerhouse teams play, the over is the way to look. And I think that'll be the case here again. Team totals, by the way, it's around 25.5 for Baltimore, 23.5 for Kansas City. Would not disagree with either team total over as well here. And even though the Chiefs have struggled off to a 1-2 start, Chargers look pretty good. The Eagles also look pretty good. And they really outplayed the Giants, I thought, more than the 22-9 score, and they could have scored more points there. They just really couldn't find a way to punch it in the end zone. I think that changes this week against a Baltimore team that has given up 38 and 41 points in the 2 games they've played against decent opponents this year, Buffalo and Detroit. Hey, both teams are 1-2 straight up in ATS. They're both desperate. They're both in good spots, in my opinion, because of the 1-2 starts. So let's not look at the side. Let's look at the total, up and over 48 points on Sunday afternoon between Baltimore and KC. Hey, drop in the comments below your thoughts on this game. Side, total, player props. How are you attacking it? What other NFL plays do you like this Sunday? And don't forget, if you're liking these videos, I will keep them coming. All I ask is a thumbs up like. Click the thumbs up like. Boom, you did it. It took 2 seconds. It keeps the content free and plentiful here on WagerTalk TV. Over 220,000 subscribers here to the channel for free. Make sure you're one of them. Click subscribe and click that bell as well for an instant alert, so you know when these free play videos are posted, including my Sunday and Monday night free play videos for this week, and also my ever-popular NFL Fade the Public video for Sunday. Click that bell for an instant alert here on WagerTalk TV. And don't forget, I also post a free play every day on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And you might want to pay attention. It's the last cut from my best bet card, and I'm very selective, maybe 2 to 3 best bets per day on average for my clients, which means that last cut is pretty strong still. So check out today's bonus free play right now with analysis on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And while you're there, check out the best bets I've got for my clients. You can purchase a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month, a 1 year, different price points for different packages, but it doesn't matter which one you choose. Every client gets the exact same plays I'm personally using each day. Same games I've won consistently with since I became a full-time professional handicapper over 29 years ago, August of 1996. And this weekend, you can save 30% instantly with any All-Sport All-Access purchase when you use promo code ACCESS30. You see the details on your screen right now. Use that promo code ACCESS30, ACCESS30, ACCESS30 on any All-Sport All-Access package from 1 day up to 1 year and save 30% instantly. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and hey, get there quicker. Once again, with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.
All right, let's talk Sunday Night Football. We got the Green Bay Packers heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys at Jerry World. Green Bay will come in as a 6.5-point road favorite, and the total sits at 47. The Packers are looking to bounce back from an ugly loss on the road at Cleveland. That was a troublesome game, and some of the sharps knew all about it. A lot of sharp money was on Cleveland in that game. Cleveland can be a tough place to play. Green Bay still should have won that game. They had a double-digit lead heading into the fourth quarter, an interception and a blocked field goal, and they allow 13 unanswered points, and the Browns steal one at home as a big dog to Green Bay. 2-1 overall, the Packers. They're still looking pretty damn good, and they haven't had any rough luck on the road at Dallas. History favors the Packers. They've won 9 of the last 10 meetings in this series. They're 8-2 against the spread in those games. They're 5-0 against the spread at Dallas in their last 5 at Jerry World, and they've won 3 of their last 4 at Dallas by 10 or more points. So certainly history does favor the visitors here. That said, there is some concerns about their offensive line. Starting offensive linemen and backups are all questionable, or not all questionable, but certainly many offensive linemen a little bit dinged up, and depth will be a concern. It is a bit of a concern. That might prevent them from running up the score here. Big storylines with Micah Parsons returning to Dallas, an opportunity to show up Jerry Jones. I wouldn't want to be Dak Prescott in this one. Green Bay's defense, they rank first overall in scoring defense so far this season, allowing just 14.7 points per game. And I want to point out that my video for Thursday Night Football, I discussed the Seattle Seahawks and how they rank number 2 in scoring defense. And I said, that doesn't mean anything. They just played the Saints. We're only 3 games into the season. And I do believe that 3 games into the season, you should not be putting too much stock in the overall numbers and saying, oh, this is the best defense in the NFL, particularly when you just played the Saints. This is a bit of a different story, though, because the Packers have played some real teams, and they were a top 7, top 6 defense last year. So it's not too much of a stretch to say that this defense is playing well. They rank first overall right now. They might not rank first overall at the end of the year, but they'll probably still be at least in the top 10. So just want to point out that difference if somebody's going to call me on that. Jordan Love, solid play, 663 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception, albeit a costly interception that cost them a game last week. And then Josh Jacobs, underwhelming numbers for Josh Jacobs, 180 yards and 2 touchdowns through the first 3 games, averaging just 3.1 yards per carry. And he is a little banged up as well. I do expect him to be in this game. He is practicing. He's been limited in practice. I expect him to play, but he has not been as effective as you'd hope. Before we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, I got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at WagerTalk.com, and this is by far the most popular promotion I've ever seen at WagerTalk. We're giving away all the football. That's Saturday college football, NFL football, and even the Monday night football game for just $49. Man, I remember when we used to sell one game for $49. Can't believe they're giving it away this cheap. But you can go to WagerTalk.com. You can go to WT.buzz/JS and get that deal now. As always, there's no purchase necessary. You're more than welcome to tune in just for the free picks and let me know about it in the comments section. If you don't like my picks, if you don't like my haircut, if you don't like anything, you just drop me a comment below. But if you've got anything to say about this game or any other game this week or even college football, let me know about it in the comments below. I like to chat about football. Now let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys, 1-2 overall, coming off an ugly 31-14 loss at Chicago. They lost CeeDee Lamb in that game. That's going to hurt. And they return home where they are 3-9 against the spread in their last 12 home games. If you look at how they're performing, Javonte Williams, the running back, I was not high on him coming into the season. This guy is, mediocre at best, in my opinion. But you look at the numbers, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. And given that the schedule they've played and the fact that they've lost 2 of 3 games, I'd say he's playing pretty well. The defense, though, not playing very well at all. The Cowboys rank dead last in dead last in passing defense. They're allowing 288 passing yards per game. And when you look at the quarterbacks they've faced, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson, who's already been benched, and Jalen Hurts, who is a good quarterback, but Hurts only threw for 152 yards on them. So they gave up a boatload of yards to Caleb Williams and Russell Wilson, and now they're facing Jordan Love. And again, I mentioned that in my video on the Thursday night game, I cautioned against reading too much into the stats, the year-to-date stats, when we're only 3 games in. However, Dallas wasn't a great defense last year, and they traded Micah Parsons. So the loss of their best defender and the fact that they're struggling against the pass, and when you look at the schedule and see who they've played, again, simple stuff here, guys. Just the whole idea that people are telling me Seattle's got the best defense in the NFL after they just played the Saints. I mean, you guys make me laugh sometimes in the comments, so keep them coming. Dak Prescott has thrown for 800 yards. That's fourth in the NFL. 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's completing 71% of his passes so far. So Prescott has been more than capable of keeping Dallas in games. Without CeeDee Lamb, though, and with Micah Parsons, with something to prove on the other side, do you really want to have your money on the Cowboys in this game? I don't think so. I am not interested in that at all. I know everybody's going to be on Green Bay here. I'm going to take a look at the total. The total sits at 47. There's still some 47.5s on the board. I'm going to grab a 47.5, and I'm going to go under. I think the loss of CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons disrupting Dak Prescott, along with the thin offensive line for the Green Bay Packers, will result in a lower score. So we're going with the under. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, you guys have been awful nasty of late too. No worries. Hit me up in the comments below. Love to hear it. Good luck. We'll see you next week.
Let's break down this AFC South matchup in Week 4. The Tennessee Titans traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. Both teams enter this game 0-3, and the Texans are favored by a full touchdown at home. Actually seeing some 7.5s pop up at some books, and the total is anywhere between 38.5 and 39.5. But what's the recommended play here? We'll get into the numbers, the matchup, and the trends that point to betting on the sharp side of this game in just a minute here. I'm Ronald Kabang from WagerTalk.com and TheMoneyBaller.com. As far as NFL goes, hitting over 57% of my NFL plays since last season on a nice 6-2 run here over my last 2 weeks. If you want to rock with me short term or long term in the NFL, WNBA, Premier League, college football, those are the sports I'm betting right now. There are a bunch of deals going on over at WagerTalk.com. You could actually head over to wt.buzz/RC. That goes straight directly to my capper page. We have a QR code there. If you want to go directly there, if you're wanting to scan, it goes directly to wt.buzz/RC. You can also see it scrolling on the bottom down there. All right. Now to this game here. We got to talk about last week. Tennessee was embarrassed at home by Indianapolis, losing 41-20. Cam Ward struggled early and often. After the game, head coach Brian Callahan actually made a big change, handing the offensive play calling to quarterback coach Bo Hardegree. Houston side, they lost 17-10 in Jacksonville. Their offense really struggled again, especially with the turnovers. Stroud threw 2 interceptions. Collins lost the fumble as well. In this matchup specifically between these two teams, Tennessee is dealing with some offensive line injuries, but the bigger story here is what I mentioned earlier, the play calling switch, which could mean quicker reads, more protection for Ward. Titans, their strength right now is their defensive front. In this game will stay tight if they can force 3rd and longs, which they have been doing. Titans are actually defensively, they're actually top half of the league in 3rd down conversion. Teams are only converting 37% of the 3rd downs compared to 40% for Houston defensively. And then a big reason why for that 3rd down struggles for Houston's defense is their secondary. It's banged up. They're lacking depth. That's a lot of moving parts here in the defensive backfield, and cohesion matters on defense. Their strength is their pass rush, but obviously with Hunter and Anderson Jr., but with the Titans, obviously they can counter with Pollard, they can counter with a short passing game. Houston, I think they won't know what to expect for the most part with a new play caller on the Titans side. If you look at both teams here, both of them under heavy pressure to get their first win of the season. Tennessee, obviously a new voice, they on the offense to call the plays. Often you see, especially with a new coach, a scripted first quarter, more efficiency after like a midweek change. And in Houston, obviously they have a look ahead spot here. Obviously they need their first win of the season, but they do have a look ahead spot here with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson up next week. I like the Titans +7. If you can get the 7.5, even better, because the math, if you look at the math here, obviously with a low total, points are going to be at a premium. Getting a full touchdown in a divisional matchup with a low scoring game, a lot of motivation on both sides here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. 7.5, or it would even be better if you could line shop there. Secondary issues on the Texans side. Obviously, I mentioned multiple DBs potentially out or banged up. They dropped CJ Gardner-Johnson. The depth there is a concern. Even if Tennessee isn't explosive with the long ball, a new play caller can potentially find the cracks, and their offense could break through for a score here or there. The new coaching, Joel, I talked about that too. When a team changes play callers, you often see immediate shifts in tempo, early down play selection, protection schemes, and those little adjustments, they don't need to be massive in a low total scoring game. Small efficiency bumps are going to be huge here. The gap efficiency on the offensive side of the ball isn't as big as what it seems. Obviously, Tennessee bottoms here offensively, but Houston is also they're actually dead last in points per game, 12.7 points per game through the first few weeks of the season. So it's not like they've shown the ability to dominate offensively and run away with a game like this, even if they're 7-point favorites. From a trend perspective, since 2016, road underdogs in games where both teams are winless, 26-10 ATS, that's 72.2%. Divisional familiarity also tightens the margins. These spots tend to favor the dog, so really pointing towards the Titans +7. I think like I mentioned, the play right here, I did actually take this as a premium play. A low total in a divisional game with two winless teams, situational angles matchup, the historical trend matchup, all pointing towards the underdog here. So Tennessee +7. What are your thoughts on this game? Make sure to leave a comment if you agree or disagree. Also, if you enjoyed the breakdown, and like and subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the notification button as well so you don't miss another breakdown from any of the other WagerTalk handicappers. Once again, head over to wt.buzz/RC for free and premium picks and packages. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I already put up my college football, NFL, and Premier League for the weekend. You can actually, here's that QR code again. If you want to scan, go directly to my capper page right there. Also, the link scrolling down at the bottom. Short-term packages, Weekend Warrior, football, pass, that's $49. That's college football and NFL for the weekend. Midterm package, you got 60 days of all access for just $3.98. That's a huge discount if you buy, instead of buying them monthly. A long-term promo, 1 year all access pass, $99 a month, plus you get a 25% bonus coupon there. For all your personal betting needs, head over to themoneyballer.com. They have all the stats, trends, and insights you need to make informed betting decisions. You can use promo code RC50 to get 50% off your first billing cycle. Themoneyballer.com is the main source for handicapping for myself. It's a big reason why I've had success in multiple sports here, so check that out. And that's the end of the video, guys. Whether you fade or follow, it is on you to make that call. Good luck with our reaction. Until next time, peace.
Welcome into Drew Silly Diamonds for Sunday, September 28th, 2025. I am Drew Martin, breaking down the NFL slate of games. 3 NFL bets coming your way. Let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. All is welcome. Your picks for today. It helps grow the show in the YouTube comments below. Smash that like button if you're liking the content. As we got first game up on the other side of the pond, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, bright and early. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Minnesota Vikings. And I say hosting, it is in Dublin, Ireland. Croke Park, I believe is how you say the stadium name. So we're heading to Ireland here. I believe it's the first NFL game in the country of Ireland. And the Vikings -2.5 as the favorite, 41 being the total. So we get Carson Wentz, likely the quarterback here. Came in as the backup, but J.J. McCarthy out as the starter for the Vikings. Carson Wentz, I was reading up on this game, of Irish background, so Irish heritage here, playing in Ireland, but aren't we all Irish in some form or fashion? That's what I've heard anyway. Hey, he started he started for 6 different teams in 6 calendar years. That is impressive in itself. Call him a journeyman. He can throw the football, but hey, he's up against Aaron Rodgers here, and Aaron Rodgers, the Pittsburgh Steelers version, has looked pretty decent. I actually would probably take Aaron Rodgers over Carson Wentz, at least in a 1-game sample here. And the Pittsburgh defense, they forced 5 turnovers last week. They looked really solid. I think this is going to be a tough outing here for Carson Wentz. I think it's wrong team favorite, guys. +2.5 with the Pittsburgh side. We're going to go Steelers as the dog early to start off the Sunday slate. We got the 1 o'clock Eastern slate up next. LA Chargers, New York Giants, 43 and a hook being the total, -6.5. That is the Chargers as the road favorite. The Bolts come in 3-0 for the first time in 23 years since Drew Brees was back there behind center. They got another good quarterback here in Justin Herbert. They played some clean football. Last week had no punts. This is a 4th in scoring defense, so they're playing good defense as well, are the Chargers. They're up against the Giants here, 1-9, their last 10 at home. They now turn to the rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, making his NFL debut as Russell Wilson's going to see the bench, at least for this game. Jackson Dart, a guy, if you don't follow college football too much, he comes from Ole Miss. He actually surpassed, speaking of Giants quarterbacks, Eli Manning for Ole Miss's overall passing yards leader. I think he could be good overall. It's just kind of a tricky handicap going after a rookie quarterback. The Giants, it would be a lot easier if you could kind of trust the defense. This is the 2nd worst total defense in the NFL. They've given up over 400 yards a game on average. I think the Chargers are going to win this by margin. So laying under a touchdown, we're on the Bolts, -6.5 against the New York Football Giants. Got 1 game left. It will be an afternoon kick here, guys. A reminder, if you could comment below, it helps grow the show. Anything more than welcome. Any questions, fire away. What your bets are, where you agree, where you disagree in the YouTube comments below. If you're interested in premium picks, check them out. WagerTalk.com, experts page, Drew Martin. Do have the top play up and available for the clients in the NFL here in the afternoon kick. So go check that out. Chiefs and Ravens winner for you. All right, we got the nightcap for the show, but actually it's just the afternoon kick here. The LA Rams at home hosting the Indianapolis Colts. 49 and a hook being the total, -3 and a hook. That is the Rams as the home favorite. Now the Colts here, man, they've been a story out the gate. They got Daniel Jones behind center. Speaking of New York Football Giants quarterbacks, now Daniel Jones here in Indianapolis, over 800 yards so far this season. He's got 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. So he's playing great football here. But they only punted, once this season. Now, the problem is it's been a little bit easy of a schedule. You can make the argument the easiest schedule in the NFL. Indianapolis is, if you like the trends, 0-5 is enough.
Going out last night. Happy Sunday. It's a football Sunday. Very excited to take you guys through the next hour, giving you the edge here at WagerTalk's Last Call. I'm the prop queen, Ariel Epstein. Happy New Year to you guys as well. It was, I guess, I wasn't here last week. I don't remember. Anyway, I hope that we are going to give you guys a great edge going into this slate of games. I know we've already got the game going on in Dublin with the Steelers taking a lead going at half. But we're going to go through the 1 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, the 8 o'clock, some primetime slots. and we've got the best guys to do it. We've got Yanni the Greek to kick things off, John Murray joining us from over at the Westgate to take you behind the counter, and then Carmine Bianco going to give us some NFL action. Thanks for everyone tuning in, by the way, especially on our various social channels, Kick, Rumble, Wager Talk YouTube channel. So if you are new here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a show over at the Wager Talk YouTube. If you have any questions too, we love to interact with you guys. That's what this show is all about. So make sure to write in the chat, and you can ask any of our Wager Talk handicappers any of the questions you have going into today's slate of games. Also have your odds logic screen open and ready to go. You can use oddslogic.com/propqueen. It's created by Don Best, the sports option guys. Odds Logic creates all of your real-time odds screen. It's the ultimate one to really use because you can see all the lines, how they've moved throughout the week. You can see how they open, how they close, which books have the best numbers. It's designed with cutting-edge technology, delivers unparalleled customization, lightning-fast updates to give you a winning edge. Send your game rotation numbers along with all of your questions too. So let's start with the guy who joins us all the time, every week here on a Sunday. You see him all the time on Wager Talk platforms. He's not in his normal location, but is wearing a Phillies hat again. How are you, Yanni the Greek?
Good morning. Good morning. Great Saturday of college football. So we're rolling into Sunday. Excited for the NFL.
Is the Phillies
Good
hat your like
season.
good luck charm or something?
It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been really good. Yeah. Every week of college football, we've won every week 0, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Every week has been profitable. And so far, regular season of NFL has been good too. So I like today's games.
Oh, okay. So you like today's games. We've got this game going on in Dublin. I don't know if live action is something you think about, but it is halftime. Anything live coming in?
No, actually, that's what I was just looking for to see if anything was coming in. I'm seeing the under getting bet a little bit, the under 20. It was a low scoring first half. Nothing really sticking out on the side. Before the game started, it was all Minnesota. So this would be a really good result for the books. It would wipe out a lot of the early parlays that are tied into, the 1 p.m. kickoffs, because a lot of bettors, that's what they'll do. They'll tie in that early game over in Europe with little later games and see if they could have some action already. But so far, it doesn't look good for Minnesota. They're -3.5 in the second half, and I'm not seeing them getting any respect at all. So doesn't look good for Minnesota in the second half.
I'm going to ask you some of my questions. Then I'm going to see what you like today, and then we'll get to some of the questions in the chat. I was watching Bet On It here at Wager Talk, which you are always on. You gave out a scary play, and I'm curious if you're still backing it. Those Giants, you still liking them?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of the. Here's the thing, that the spread's the great equalizer, and I think with that game right there, you're paying such a premium right now for the Chargers, and I'm high on the Chargers. I have season win totals over. I have them to win the Super Bowl future, so I want to see the Chargers continue to do well. But this line is just way too high because it's a reflection of the drop off in quarterback from Russell Wilson to now the number one guy, a rookie number one draft pick. But if you look at what Russell Wilson's done this season, where's the drop off? Look at his quarterback rating. He's got in 2 to 3 games, he threw for below 50% completion rate. He threw the ball 37 times, had 15 catches. It's not like he's going out there and winning games single-handedly. So the drop-off between the number 1 and the number 2 is negligent at best. If anything, I think it may be an upgrade at the quarterback position where, the kid's probably not going to be as gutsy as Russell Wilson throwing into quadruple coverage and getting picked off every third pass. So if anything, I think it's an upgrade coupled with the rest of the team knows they got to step up. Like we now have a rookie at quarterback. So if anything, I think it's the perfect storm to get a motivated Giants team at home against a team traveling cross country, playing at a conference who's already undefeated. And there's a lot of recency bias. That's just how well the Chargers have been playing. Arguably the best team in football. I don't think so. And I want them to be. But just power rating wise, that just isn't the case. They're just not the best, team in the NFL. In fact, Chargers are barely top 10. And again, this is coming from someone who's biased on the Chargers. But power rating wise, there's 10, 12 teams that would be favored over the Chargers on a neutral field. Now, again, the books, they're going to manage their risk. It's kind of like I talked about Alabama. They got to manage their risk. I thought Alabama was a better team than Georgia based on my power ratings. again, the game could have turned out Georgia winning, and I still would have trusted my power ratings. What I'm trying to say is, like, at the end of the day, that's all I can look at. And when I look at the Chargers, like I said, they're a lot stock's a lot higher than it should be this early in the season. And I think the Giants is a lot lower than it should be. So win or lose, I think getting 6.5 is a gift.
The best part about sports betting is that you're going to watch some games that you normally wouldn't watch because who cares? You've got the Vegas Raiders, no offense to you living in Vegas, but you've got the Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears. This was one of the most intriguing games of the week to me. I know that my friends in the group chat are all on the Raiders today. Kelly was saying she thinks this would end up being a pros versus Joes kind of game. Recency bias is on the Bears after what they looked like against Dallas, but the Bears really aren't that good of a team. Vegas is at home, short spread, and -1.5. I think it flipped too early in the week. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, this is to me, this has stay away written all over it. You just touched it. Chicago's coming off such a big win against the Dallas Cowboys in a must win almost at home. They had already gone behind in their division 0-2. They had lost to Minnesota. They lost to Detroit. Now here come the Dallas Cowboys, another conference at least foe, and they beat them. So are you expect a letdown? Maybe, but are you comfortable laying points with this Vegas team? I'm not. Again, they just lost by 17 to Washington. They lost by 11 at home to this Chargers team. I just don't feel comfortable betting the Raiders in the favorite spot. Like, it's not a team I feel all warm and fuzzy walking to the window to put my hard-earned cash on the Raiders as favorites. So, yeah, I'm here in Vegas. The city's excited for them. In fact, the casino across the street had a big Raiders helmet as their light logo this morning, bright and early in the morning. Yeah,
everyone's
so
buying in into those Golden Knights.
They're excited. But yeah, I don't like it. I'll cheer them in.
So you don't like that Vegas game. Another game people are intrigued by is this Eagles-Bucks game. What do you see there?
I like the under. I bet the under. I went under 44.5 immediately. I like the Eagles as well. Here's a Super Bowl winner that, you expect the team to have a little Super Bowl hangover. And because of that, like, they're outperforming the betting market. They're a 3-0 team that's covered 2 of their 3 games already, and that shouldn't be the case because, again, they're Super Bowl champs. They're supposed to be overvalued. And what happens? They haven't been more than, except for the opening game against Dallas, they haven't been, a field goal favorites against the Rams, a pick 'em at Kansas City. So I think Philly's still being discounted coming off that Super Bowl win. And I think Tampa Bay got lucky last week against New York Jets. Real quickly, this is a team that could very easily be 0-3 instead of 3-0. They've got 3 wins by a combined 5 points. To me, with that kind of point differential, I'm looking to fade Tampa. I'm looking for spots to fade them because their points scored, points allowed tells me this should not be a 3-0 team. They're phony. They're either getting lucky with turnovers, with the other team committing penalties, but they're not winning by any kind of margin where the Eagles are. I like Philly in that spot. Sounds square, but I like Philly in under.
Speaking of square, the chat's asking, what are the heavy sides of the week that I guess for fade the public purposes we should be fading?
Yeah, and be careful with that in the NFL because I promise you, by the time the game kicks off, there's so many opinions that the books make money. There's so much. I don't think you could go back the last 10 years. I promise you. And so 52 weeks, right? There's 500 plus weeks over the last 10 years, over 500 weeks. I would venture a guess that the books lost less than 2% of those weeks. So they don't need anything. They just need us to go in there and bet. We're laying 11-10. We're already taking the worst of it. They really don't need anything. Like the fact if we're all lining up on one side that it's going to lose because we're doing that. I just never understood that. But I know everybody loves to know what the books need. And again, when you're getting 11-10, you really don't need much except the book action. But the one-sided games that are sticking out are Baltimore over Kansas City. And usually with a coin flip kind of game, you don't expect that. Road favorites, you don't expect that. But I just think the stock on Kansas City is so low right now. Bettors are looking for a reason to fade KC and Mahomes, and they're doing it today with Baltimore. They're also already tying in Denver for Monday night. So the books are probably going to have to go to teaser protection on the Denver Broncos. Pay attention to that line. because I'm already seeing the parlays on the point spread, the money line parlays, and the teasers tied into Monday night with the Denver Broncos. Like they already have Tuesday's newspaper, and Denver won that game by 40 points. The bettors are that sure. Minnesota, that was an early game. That got a ton of one-sided action. Like I said, it's going to wipe out a lot of parlays already. Houston Texans getting money, Dallas and Detroit. So it's the usual suspects. Detroit, they've gone out there. They're playing a bad Cleveland team. They got to win by double digits. No one's afraid of laying it. They're teasing it. They're money lying it. Detroit, I'm sure Detroit's survivor pick of the week. So Detroit's that sexy pick for sure. But Baltimore, Denver, Houston, Dallas, Detroit, those are the public signs that are sticking out the most. But again, unless you see the line move is what you need to be paying attention to. Like, how are the books respecting that money? Because you got to remember, if 10 guys walk up and bet $10 on Team A, and then I walk up and I bet 1,000 on Team B, they may have 90% of the tickets on Team A, but they want Team A to win. Just because they have 90% of the tickets on Team A means nothing. Where's the money? What's the money show? Where's that balance? Because that's what's going to move the market. The ticket count means absolutely nothing. And that's what most of the data out there is, like where they're one-sided with ticket count. Because again, 10 people could bet Team A. I bet 50X on Team B, and the ticket count means nothing. So always keep that in the back of your mind.
Now that we know where the public is going, Yanni, where are you and those sharp groups going?
All right. This is going to scare bettors. We banged New Orleans immediately. I bet New Orleans probably 7 different ways. I bet New Orleans from plus 17 at minus 115. I gave them out to subscribers at plus 16 or 16.5. I bet them at plus 15 and all the way down to, I think 15.5 was the last bet I have on New Orleans. I like the Giants. I already liked Kansas City. I liked Kansas City from before that line even came out. I thought Kansas City was going to be undervalued. They are. Couple sharp sides, 260 Atlanta, plus 1.5. Detroit got steamed. Again, that's public. And sharps on the Detroit team, which again shows you sharps don't care what the public's doing. They don't pay attention to what the public's doing. What's the number, and is it an efficient number? That's it. They're on the Rams, 270 Rams. They like the Rams a lot. And like I said, they like Philadelphia and Houston. Another side that's public also, and sharp bettors as well. So Philly, Houston, Atlanta, Detroit, sharp, Giants, sharp, New Orleans, sharp, KC, sharp. But again, they lose. Sharps lose too. Just cash more than we trash. That's all.
Cash more than we trash. I love it. The chat's asking also any teaser legs that you would bet.
Oh, right now, if the game teasers have been so good. Jump into the Steam room. You'll get the teasers for free about 15 minutes before kickoff. Right now, 7-1 this year. If the games were going off right now, do we even have a teaser? The only leg I could possibly, the teaser I would give would be Chicago. I'd take Chicago up to 7.5, and I'd take Kansas City up to 8.5, mm-hmm. And I'd take Washington. Washington.
Don't you think it's a little fishy that the
Washington's
line
going to 3?
Don't you think it's what's going to 3?
I think Atlanta's going to 3, so I wouldn't tease Washington.
I think it's fishy that the book is welcoming those teasers on the Chiefs.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I thought maybe they would move it today, and it's still 2.5. And I just find it to be a very fishy line that the Ravens are on the road. You would think that's an easy teaser spot to go take the Chiefs at home in a close. I just think it's way too fishy.
But here's the predicament the book is in. Okay, they're getting bet Baltimore by recreational bettors. They like Baltimore, and they should. They like Baltimore. Okay. Power rating wise, it makes sense, but
so they're getting a lot of action on both sides.
Sharp bettors are taking the 3. When the 3 pops up, if you look at the odds logic screen and you click it, you'll see whenever 3 is popped up at the sharp books, it's been picked off. So throughout the week, they popped up 3. They pushed 3, and whenever they got 3, someone took KC plus 3. So they know if they want to manage the risk, all they have to do is move it to 3, and they'll balance it. It looks to me like they're almost welcoming Baltimore at minus 2.5. That's a little worrisome on the Baltimore side because, again, just seeing the action already, not only is the ticket side on Baltimore, but the money is on Baltimore too, even with the plus 3 being bought by sharps. It's just more public money than sharp money always in the NFL. And by the time that game kicks off later, I think it's just going to grow. it'll be interesting to see if they go to 3. If they go to 3, that tells you they're trying. They're scared of Baltimore, that Baltimore money, and they want to limit that risk. But if that game stays 2.5, that's not a great sign for Baltimore with the money that's coming in.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. There are 2 other games we haven't really touched on yet: the Panthers and the Patriots, and then the Colts and the Rams. What do you think?
All right. I like the Rams. I do like the Rams. That game got steamed over. Okay. As soon as that's what's interesting. This total got steamed over by multiple groups. And then this morning, this group that destroys team totals, destroys like all those little derivatives, first half total, like the crazy stuff, they came in and blasted under Colts first half team total. So they expect the Colts to score less than 10.5 points in the first half. But somehow they do like the game to go over 47.5. Try to make that make sense in your head. I don't know. I'm not smart enough. It'll blow my brain. So I just bet everything. That's what I do. And when the dust settles, I hope to be ahead. I don't try to figure out the puzzle like that. But they like the Colts under team total first half, but they did steam the game over. I personally like the Rams. I think 3.5 is a gift. I think up even -4, I'm comfortable laying the Rams. Anything less than a touchdown, I think they cover this game. That's my opinion. The other one, Carolina, I don't really have an opinion on it. I think that's a really ugly game against 2, 1-win football teams. The difference is you have Carolina coming in off of a 30-0 win against Atlanta. So, maybe a little recency bias there. Maybe looked at New England because of that. I don't like the game. Gun the head, I bet New England, but it's probably a pass.
There was an interesting spot that Marco brought up when you guys were on Bet on It this week, when he was saying the 49ers are in a really bad scheduling spot because they have to face the Rams on a short week on Thursday. So with them getting Jacksonville at home, super banged up San Francisco, Brock Purdy coming back under center, how would you play the Jaguars and the Niners?
Yeah, I wouldn't. To be honest with you, that's because of the Purdy situation. His backup came in and won 2 football games, so quantifying the worth is very difficult. Because now the backup came in, played great, but did he just outperform? Like, would he have regressed towards his mean had he played 5, 6, 7, 8 games? That's the question that's hard to figure out. And the more you have to guess, the better the return has to be. And in this spot, I just don't see that. Like, I'm taking more risk because I got to figure more things out, and the return just isn't there. So again, I think it's just one of those stay away games, probably dog or pass, gun the head, just because, again, the 49ers have definitely been outperforming the betting market. But it's not a game I'm really interested in. And I don't really see much sharp action or even public action. It's kind of like not much risk. That's why you're not seeing much movement. Just not a big game for the books. The outcome won't matter too much. That's why it's sitting on 3, not much movement.
Sunday Night Football, Packers, Cowboys. What do you say?
Dallas and the Packers. I haven't touched that game yet. The Packers have been playing really well. The question we all have to ask ourselves is simple. Is the look ahead the right line, or is the adjustment the right line? Because the line was supposed to be about 4.5. Now you're looking at 6.5, 7. Now, is that warranted? I think it's too early for that. Like, I don't think so yet. I really don't. Like, again, I'm impressed with how well Green Bay's played. And anytime a team's a 7.5 point favorite and loses outright and then comes back and is a heavy favorite the next week, they usually do well in that spot. That's what worries me about fading Green Bay here. But just Dallas as a home dog seems attractive to me. And that might just be old school thinking, but it does. Dallas is up for me. If I had to bet the game, it would be Dallas or pass. I just think even if Green Bay, we know, is the better team, and on paper, it's prime time. It's Sunday night. It's Green Bay coming to town. If Dallas has anything, you got to show up for this game, especially the way they lost to Chicago last week, and their only wins against the Giants by only 3 points in a game they didn't cover. Like, Dallas looked as good as you could look losing to the Eagles in week 1, and then have looked as bad as you could possibly look in back-to-back weeks. So if anything, I think their stock's low. Dallas or pass. If you could get 7, I think it's a good bet.
Yanni the Greek, Thank you as always for coming on here on a Sunday with us, giving us those winners. What are you promoting today before I let you go?
Yeah, we'll be in the steam room in about 40 minutes. We're going to go final hour going into the NFL. We'll go over as much information as possible, share some bets with you guys, answer any questions, and go over week to date, year to date, month to date. So far, so good. And again, just keep grinding away. Football's been good. I came in saying it's going to be the best football season I've had since 2020, and so far it's living up to it. So let's just keep going.
We love to hear it, and it's an honor to have you here with us, Yanni the Greek. Good luck today. See you next week. Coming up now, we've got one of my great friends who maybe will help my little hangover that I've got going on today. He knows a thing or two about me being in bad moods the day after I go out. John Murray joining the show from the Superbook in Las Vegas. Hi, JM.
You're hungover on the morning you're hosting a show for your friend Kelly? I can't believe that. What are you doing?
She said she hasn't had alcohol in a week.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't believe that. I don't believe that she could get through a Saturday of college football without drinking.
I know, right? And she's
I'm
with her
skeptical.
dad, and like maybe she doesn't consider certain things alcohol that most would.
Like if it's a light beer, then that's not
Right,
drinking.
like then it doesn't
I can
count,
see
or
that.
maybe like
I
one
can see that.
margarita doesn't count.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Well, she's
Like
got
she
a lot
has
of
one
interesting
margarita on the Kelly and Murray pod, and she's fine.
Well, she's fine at one, but if she goes to two, then the wheels come off the show. Yes, I
Oh,
agree.
God.
One is acceptable. What were you celebrating the Yankees playoff clinch? I mean,
That
what
already happened a while
that was a
ago.
while ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
The Yankees have to win today. Toronto has to lose today.
Oh,
It's
we
a mess
know.
out in Major League Baseball.
We know, and I think that's something that people probably wouldn't understand. Some of our biggest decisions today are we want the Yankees to win the American League East, and we want the Guardians to win the American League Central.
Ooh,
So
really?
obviously, we're keeping an eye on the NFL, and we need to see what's
Why?
going
I feel like the Guardians I understand, but why the Yankees? They seem like they'd be public over the Blue
We
Jays.
don't. It's not that we really win on the Yankees. It's that we would lose a good number on Toronto. Toronto was a long shot pick, and there was a bunch of tickets on them. And if they win the division, we take a hit. So we'll be watching. We also want the Reds to make the playoffs. The Reds can make the playoffs with a win today or a Mets loss. So we've got a number of moving parts on the diamond as we're also navigating the NFL. Luckily, Team USA did us a favor. We don't have to worry about watching the Ryder Cup today. One less thing to sweat. That they didn't do too well, but we have a lot of baseball needs in addition to the NFL stuff today.
Ooh, okay. I like it. And I know that someone in the chat asked what happened to Liverpool, which is probably not going to make you happy.
Who asked that? That person should be banned from the chat. Get rid of that person.
Let me get the name.
Get him out
Oh,
of here.
there it is. Jose.
Jose, you're out of the show. I don't like that. That yeah, they lost.
I don't know what happened to Liverpool. I don't follow
lost.
soccer, but it clearly wasn't good.
They lost 2-1 yesterday against Crystal Palace. Tough game. They lost. They didn't look too good, actually. So no, it's okay. So Jose, I apologize for my outburst. You can still be on the show. I'm sorry.
Well, let's make some other people happy because I
Okay.
do like to see others happy if we
Yes.
can't be. Talking about the sport that you love the most, the NFL. What do you guys need? Because I know Kelly wants me to. This is all Kelly cares about is make sure to tell me what John needs.
She can't watch the show? I don't know. I don't
No,
even
she's
understand.
with her dad at breakfast, she said, and
Oh.
she doesn't really have good service.
Yeah, I've noticed she FaceTimes me a lot. And I'm like, why are you FaceTiming me? Just call me.
You know that
Something
her
about-
cell service in her house
Yeah.
doesn't really work.
That's what it is, I guess. I think we're gonna need. I mean, it's a long way off, but I'm sure we'll need Dallas tonight. Dallas, about right now, a 6.5 point underdog at home. A little unusual to see them that big of a dog at home. Very similar game to Kansas City, New York last week. Kansas City was about the same level of a favorite in that game. We'll need the Cowboys in the morning. Well, we really need the Steelers, but it's too late for that one. That doesn't help anybody. We'd love to see the Steelers. We'll need Cleveland. We'll need anybody in the afternoon. It looks like we'll need San Francisco, which would have surprised me a little bit. I wouldn't have expected that. And we'll need the Giants. The Chargers will be in a lot of parlays for sure. Right now, we need Washington. There's a lot of money that came in on Atlanta during the week because of the news about Jaden Daniels and McLaurin being out for the Commanders area. They call themselves the Commanders now.
Do you see any lines, speaking of Washington, because that is a team that I feel like the lines have been moving a bunch on, that's because obviously injuries. What lines do you see moving before we get to kickoff?
Well, there's a lot of sharp money on New Orleans. New Orleans, they keep betting New Orleans down. We actually took a bet this morning from an account that we respect a lot on the Saints at 10-1 to win the game outright, which I thought was a pretty interesting bet. Yeah, it's a respected account. I mean, you can't ignore it.
No.
Obviously, that would cause a lot of upheaval in these survivor contests that I know you and I love. New Orleans. I think there's a lot of support for Philadelphia as well this morning. There's sharp and public support for Philadelphia. Tampa Bay gets some key guys back this week, but Tampa Bay's been fortunate to be 3-0. You know, they really could have lost all 3 of their games this season. And they're a little bit. I like Baker Mayfield a lot. I like the Buccaneers, but I do think they're a little bit fraudulent as a 3-0 team.
Me too.
I do like it. But I think Philadelphia is one that you maybe. I doubt it would go to 4, but there's a lot of money from both the public and the sharps on the Eagles.
Okay. San Francisco, they also, I know you said you need them.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy back under center. They are on a short week coming up. They'll be on a short week going to get the Rams on Thursday. So with the Niners and all the injuries, how do you see that game playing out with Jacksonville? I know you need them, but you think that they could actually come through? I kind of liked the Jags this week.
I feel like we're always every year talking about all the injuries San Francisco is dealing with. I mean, that just seems to be
2 years for sure.
Yeah, that just seems to be a common theme. Now you got Bosa, I believe he's out for the season, which is devastating for their defense. Yeah, it's a lot of sharper support on Jacksonville and even public support as well. Jacksonville, there is, I mean, San Francisco is included in a number of moneyline parlays in the afternoon, but there's a lot of support for Jacksonville, which is not what I would have expected, to be honest with you. I would not have seen that coming. Jacksonville they've looked okay this season, but that's not a team I would have expected the public to get behind. But right now we need the 49ers, but we do have about 4.5 hours till that game kicks off, so that could change.
We also have some time, but the Chiefs and the Ravens. You know me, big Ravens fan, and I just spoke to Yanni the Greek about this. Thought it was very suspicious that Chiefs line has stayed at 2.5, welcoming all the teasers. So to Yanni's point, he said, well, if the book doesn't move that 2.5 because of all the money they're getting on Baltimore, then it's probably not a great sign for Baltimore. However, if they move the line to 3, then it's a good sign for Baltimore because they're trying to welcome in as much possible action to balance it out on the Chiefs side. What say you about this Ravens-Chiefs game?
We've taken a lot of money on Kansas City in that game right now. I mean, now we
actually, I thought Baltimore was the public side.
Well, we got the game at +3. So we got a -105 juice on these big games on Sundays. So we've got Chiefs +3, -115, Baltimore -3, +105, a 10-cent margin.
So you did move to 3.
Yeah, we're at 3. That's why our ticket count is going to be a little misleading. I think it's important too that the audience understands when they get a ticket count number from one of these smug sportsbook directors like me, they should know that if you have a number that's different than the market, your ticket count information is basically meaningless, right? So of course we have more tickets on the Chiefs. We'll need the Ravens right now. I don't know what to say about your Ravens. They never should have lost to Buffalo week 1. They never should have lost that game, but they could not stop the run at all last Monday night against Detroit. That was not a fraudulent win by Detroit. That was a very good win by Detroit. So we'll see what they can do today. The loser of this game is going to be 1-3. A big one in the afternoon. Right now we need Baltimore. We'll see what happens in the next 4.5, 5 hours.
Okay, so you guys do need Baltimore. Is that a real need or is that like a somewhat need?
Small need, not one of the significant ones. The significant ones are going to be more, like I said, Giants. We'll need Dallas tonight. I know we will. Right now we need the Commanders, the Browns, the Steelers.
Okay, so the Niners aren't as big of a need either.
Not as big as those. But the Steelers out in your friend Kelly's favorite city, Dublin.
I know. She did really well there. She really thrived in Dublin. In fact, that phone call I got from her when she was on the way to the airport, she really sounded like she was like kind of hoping her plane would go down.
Yeah, well, she really handles defeat with a lot of grace. She's got a little bit of grace. Because
Their Wildcats aren't doing her any favors.
No. Well, that would be worth having a plane go down. Your team losing in Dublin, I think, would be after like 11-day vacation overseas. What a tough way to go through life.
Yeah, she flew first class.
What? Oh, I didn't even know that part. No, I went to.
That's why I didn't go, because we only do vacation one way. It's either extremely great or it's no go.
Why
We
can't
don't
you
do like the middle ground of like, oh, you can have an average vacation. Kelly and I don't do average.
Why don't you guys just be normal? Just have normal accommodations.
Boring.
Okay. I
Unless
went
we
to
come
England.
to the Superbook, then we'll be normal with you.
Oh yeah, right. Kelly complains about her accommodations every time she stays here, unless I have her in like one of the nicest suites on the property.
Well, don't you think we deserve it?
Well, no, that's my fault. I've shown her how nice our suites can be here, because some of the theme suites are awesome.
I know.
I've made the mistake
What
of putting
was the
her
one
in
that she
those.
wanted? Like the pink, wasn't it like a pink one or something?
I think she was in the bunny suite, I believe. Yeah, I think so.
There was another one though that you couldn't put us in, but she wanted it.
I can't believe she was demanding. I don't remember. I'm sure. I think there is something like that, a pink suite, or there's a lot of them. The marketing team does a good job. Yes.
They do. Your suites
They
are
do.
awesome. Nick from New York City wants to know the need in the Patriots-Carolina game.
Right now, it's actually New England, because we took some bigger bets on Carolina plus 5.5. So not like a significant game, but we would be rooting for, like, our best case scenario right now looks like if New England could cover the spread, win by 6 or more, and actually have the game go under the total, very low total. So not a lot of margin for error there for us. We wouldn't really want too many points out of Carolina if we're going to get both those sides, right?
Okay, well, Carolina is a terrible run D as well. So if the Patriots can just get Ramondre Stevenson to hold on to the football or choose another running back to run the football, then maybe they will have a chance to cover. Saw the steam on them as well, 4.5 to 5.5 move. John Murray over at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Make sure to go say hello to him at the Westgate. He loves talking to people. Very social guy.
I do. I'm a man of the people. I love it, man. Come
Man
say
of the
hi.
people.
I'm here.
Everybody make sure to go check it out over there. It's the best sports book in Las Vegas. We have a great time, except for when our Super Bowl bets lose, which is a great time. John Murray, thanks for always coming on with us. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Last but certainly not least, our next guest is from here at Wager Talk. You see him all the time talking soccer, hockey, and NFL. Carmine Bianco joining the show from Canada. Canada, how is it over there in Canada, Carmine?
We are sweating as a nation here, Ariel, because you know what today is. 3 p.m. today, even though football's on. I know you're going to have the Yankees game on one TV. We're going to have the Jays game on the other. It's a shame one of these two teams is going to go into a wild card spot.
Do you guys all love the Blue Jays over there?
Yeah, it's like the Raptors. The nation adopts the Raptors as their own. During the playoffs, when the Raptors are actually in the playoffs, they set up Jurassic Parks throughout the arenas in Canada. So where people can watch it on big screens. And I think it's the same thing with the Blue Jays, maybe outside of Montreal, who are still Montreal Expo fans, even though they're no longer in the league. But yeah, it's going to be a dicey one today, to say the least. We'll see if Gosman can get it done at home. If not, the Yankees just have to keep rolling the way they are.
Yeah, it kind of scares me that the Yankees are on this win streak going into the playoffs, but it's fine. We'll see. Hopefully that it doesn't die out. Before we get to NFL, Adam Schefter just tweeted actives for today. Baker Mayfield, Tristan Wirfs, Chris Godwin, a big active today. Christian Gonzalez, Derek Stingley, and Chuba Hubbard are all active today in the NFL. Chris Godwin, a big one for those Bucs. But Carmine, what do you like today on the board?
So I'm going to go with some props because if I'm on with the prop queen, I want to go props. And I'll toss out a couple. I'll toss out a couple QB passing ones. I like normally taking passing ones and over their passing yards in games in which I think are going to be competitive. And the first one's a surprise because it is the Bills game and it's Josh Allen. He's at 219.5 yards. The caution sign here is if the Bills get out to a huge lead in this one, Do they go to a running game in the second half? Do they bring in Trubisky as well too? Josh is a competitor. He wants to be in there. So you have to think that absent of a huge lead, he's going to be in there for at least 3/4 of this game. But he could very well have 219 or 220 at halftime, because I think the Bills are going to go after the Saints early in this one and try and step on their throats. The Saints have hung around in a couple of games this season. So I think what you want to do is trying to avoid, kind of like what Gianni said, because he likes the Saints, trying to avoid keeping any team in a game. I still remember a few years back, the Bills pre-Josh Allen, or I think it was Josh Allen's first year, a 16 or 17 point dog going into Minnesota, and they won the game outright. So to say that a 16-point dog can't win, I wouldn't agree with that, but hopefully it doesn't happen today. Justin Herbert, over 251 and a half yards. I think the Giants are going to give him a game today as well, too. I think Herbert's going to put up his thing. The Giants have allowed the third most passing yards. You look at the three QBs they faced. Dak put up 361. Daniels 233 and a half, and Mahomes, who hasn't been really pass happy and doesn't have the wide receivers, still put up 224. Herbert's got a lot more tools to him in that one. And you look at his three games: 318 versus KC, 242 against Las Vegas, and 300 against Denver. So 251 and a half, I think, is doable for Justin Herbert. Agree or disagree before I keep rambling on?
So I think, based on what I've heard, John Murray says they need the Giants. Yanni the Greek likes the Giants. If that's the case, and the Giants do keep this game close, the Chargers are going to have to throw the football. And we know that the Chargers love to throw the football anyway. I like it. I know the Giants also have a terrible secondary. So it makes a lot of sense for Justin Herbert to go over passing yards. I like it.
So we should see a good one there. Now, the Bears game. Ashton Jaunty, over 68 and a half rushing yards in this one, Ariel. The Bears, second worst through 3 weeks against the rush, allowing the most rushing yards. Allowed 120 versus Minnesota, 177 versus the Lions, and 121 versus Dallas. In a game in which Dak also had 361 yards. I think in that one, no, that was a different game, but 121 versus Dallas. I think he gets over that number, 68 and a half. It's a little, if you look at his numbers thus far this season, a little more, this number seems a little inflated, but I think he had 68 in his last game, or 65. I think he gets over this number against the Bears and that rush defense. The last one is an under, and it's the Chuba Hubbard one, under 51 and a half rushing yards. He was limited practice on Thursday and Friday. He's going to play today, but the Pats defense have done a fantastic job with their rush defense. They allowed only 56 to the Raiders, only 61 to Miami, and only 64 to the Steelers this season. If that calf injury is a little more serious than we think it is, and he doesn't get the touches, I don't think he gets close to that number of 51 and a half unless he breaks a couple big ones. So I'm going to go under the total in that one.
I do like that as well. I was looking at it. I just wasn't sure until now if Chuba Hubbard was going to be active or not. And he is. I would say Chuba Hubbard under his rushing yards against the Pats D. That's allowed the second least rushing yards per game to running backs. You could look to maybe his receptions, because the Pats have been bad the last couple of years against pass catching backs. So that's a very intriguing number as well, Carmine. When it comes to sides and totals, anything you got there?
A couple of them. I'm kind of like Gianni. I do like the Rams today. You know, I mean, we look at and I'll just sort of preface some of my circa plays for this week. Last week 4-1, a good week 3. This week we started off with I had Seattle on a couple of my entries, so those ones are in. The Pats laying the 5.5. That line hasn't really moved, but I just can't see the Pats going 0-3 at home under new coach Mike Vrabel, but they're in a position to do so today if they lose. The Texans, I have them on one of my tickets. The Rams I have on both of my tickets. I have the Miami Dolphins on both of my tickets against the New York Jets. This is like a battle of two very bad teams, but I still think, Miami at home, maybe a little more upside. But if they were to lose to the Jets today, is that the end of Coach McDaniels?
That's what I've been hearing from a few people, not that are necessarily close to the team, but I have a few friends of mine who like the Dolphins, and a lot of them are calling for his head if they do lose to the Jets. I mean, that's kind of rock bottom.
Yeah. Your Ravens, I think, are a better team. I think Ravens should get the win. I think that's a game that's going to get teased like crazy if it hasn't been already.
I just
with,
teased it.
With Chiefs.
Hedge my happiness. I do have a Ravens ticket, though. I have a Ravens -2.5, and I have a Chiefs now +8.5 in a teaser. So
yeah,
maybe I'll hit both.
I think when you look at a couple teams and you look at teams and you say, wow, one of these teams is going to be 1-3 after this game, absent of a tie where they're 1-2-1. But both teams are equipped to easily come back from 1-3 seasons and make the playoffs.
Yeah,
we're not talking about a team like who's a 9 or 10 win projected team. Yeah, absolutely. They could do it.
I got a 10-1 ticket on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl last year. Obviously, it was still a loser, but I did end up getting that after their loss to the Raiders.
Yeah, and if they were to lose here, I would think if they were to lose here, you're going to get a really good price on them.
They're only 6-1 right now, so yeah. I do think if they lose to the Chiefs, then you would probably get at least +950, maybe like around there. Yeah. But I still don't trust the Ravens. I tell everybody all the time that their regular season bets are better to make than their postseason ones.
Yeah, no, I was on the Ravens against Detroit. That was a total shocker to me in that game. I was
actually looking at Mahomes' passing yards.
Yeah, Detroit's a great team, but I didn't expect them to get to Lamar 7 times and sack him 7 times. I just did not see that happening. And if we could just get a little stickum for those gloves or hands of Henry, he'll be fine. A couple key fumbles. But I'm sorry, you were looking at the Mahomes passing yards, did you say?
Looking at Mahomes passing yards, yeah. It already went up. It went from... Let me see where it was. The Mahomes number was 229.5 a few days ago, and now it's 238.5.
Yeah.
He's had 290 plus passing yards in home games against bottom 10 secondaries in all 3 last year. And then he also has had 2 of the 3 go over against the Ravens. The only one that didn't was the last one last year.
Yeah. Never write off KC. I know a lot of people are. They're like, well, 1-3. But they're going to get Rice back. They're going to get healthy at some point.
And just underratedly, Travis Kelce has had 100-yard games against the Ravens in 2 of 3. So just saying.
Okay, there you go.
You never know. You never know. I'm going to go through some props with everybody else. But what are you promoting today, Carmine?
5% play up in the NFL today. And a couple other plays as well, too, which are 4% plays. You can get them all in one package for $39. I've got that listed on the site, or just a 5% on its own. And the last 3 years with my 4 and 5% plays, the last 3 years since the start of the 2023 season, 118 units with 4 and 5% plays, which is number 1 at WagerTalk amongst all cappers. So let's keep that NFL ball rolling.
We love it, Carmine. Thanks for coming on with us, as always, here on Last Call on Wager Talk. Good luck to your bets today, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.
And I'm not saying good luck to his Toronto Blue Jays, because I hope that my Yankees don't mess this up. Whatever. Honestly, I don't care that much about the division. It is what it is. They'll be home anyway in the wild card. The Yankees, I'd rather them lose a game before the playoffs than lose a wild card game. But whatever. Hot streaks all come to an end. You asked about the over 4.5 rush attempts for Patrick Mahomes, Jack. I kind of like the over on Lamar more for his rush attempts, even though it's up to 8.5 now. You can get around +100. It was 7.5 earlier this week. Lamar's had 16 rush attempts in 2 of his last 3 against the Chiefs. Last week, it looked like the game plan was really to keep Lamar in the pocket. He looked really hesitant to run. But the Chiefs are allowing the second most rush attempts per game to quarterbacks this year. Spencer Rattler, Kyler Murray, they all went over their rush attempt props. And Lamar's a much better runner, obviously, but also like the Ravens can't go 1-3, and Lamar is going to take matters into his own hands because he was even mad at like Derrick Henry last week, and they're like good buddies. They were getting into it on the sideline. So if Lamar just wants to run, I think he's just going to run this week. But some other plays that I like for props. So Jalen Hurts over his longest rush is 15.5 yards. Dating back to last season when Hurts faced a team bottom 10 against mobile quarterbacks, he averaged a longest rush of 18 yards per game. The problem is that Hurts doesn't run so much on the road. So like it drops off a decent amount when he's on the road, but all we need is one. And if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the first few weeks of the season, the Bucs are allowing running backs. Where was it? The Bucs are bottom 10 in rush attempts allowed to running backs last year and this year. So you could look to Jalen Hurts over his 15.5 yards on his longest rush. In the Houston Texans game, I would look to either wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson or Jaden Higgins to go over their longest reception. Both receivers are tied with Nico Collins for the most big catches this year for Texans. They also both didn't catch a deep ball last week. Hutchinson's got more targets with 8. Higgins has 5. But look at one of them because the Titans defense has allowed the 4th most receiving yards per game to wide receivers. Looking at all 3 games against the Titans this year, multiple receivers have had at least a 15-yard catch, nonetheless 8.5 or 11.5. So I would definitely look to Jaden Higgins or Xavier Hutchinson to go over their longest reception. Who else do I like? I think it's pretty much all the big ones. Patrick Mahomes, I just said that his passing yards prop went from 229.5 to 238.5. The book, I think, is wrong on this. Mahomes averages 20 more yards a game at home than on the road. He's only played 1 game this season at home. It's a short spread. So in a closely contested game, if the Ravens potentially do take leads, Mahomes averaging 292 passing yards a game against the Ravens. At home last season against bottom 10 secondaries, Mahomes had at least 291 passing yards in all 3 of those home games. So again, for a team like Baltimore who allows the 5th most passing yards per game, I would look to the over on the Mahomes passing yards prop. So those are some of the props that I like the most. Go Yankees today. I will be watching at 3 o'clock Eastern time. And we've got this game going on right now in Dublin. For everybody tuning in, thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe and like on the YouTube page. It helps a lot on Wager Talk. We will see you all next week here on Last Call. Good luck to those bets.